December 23rd. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any board or committee reports tonight?
There are not.
Anyone? No? Good. Citizens' concerns? Okay, we have some public hearings. In one of them, I think it was at the November 25th meeting, we tabled the discussion until now and asked John, especially tonight, and I want everyone to really know that, John, we don't have a lot on this meeting, and we came here just for you tonight in this rain. So we want you to really know that we hope you have everything in order and to make it easy.
No pressure.
So I think we have to open a public hearing, so are you ready?
I don't think you can open, it was advertised for 7:15, so I think you can
Okay.
open until then.
That's right, too, and you got it. So what would you like to talk about? Maybe new business? We could do that. I'd like to read first in new business that the person that was gonna come, that was on our agenda to come to speak about Lock and Dam, has decided that he will come at another. We appreciate the opportunity to appear before you to discuss the conditions of Lock and Dam and the availability of grant funding for the dam's possible removal. Members of our restoration committee and interested state and federal representatives have considered considerable experience in addressing the challenges associated with projects of this nature, including sources of funding as well as pro bono support. Our intent in attending a selectmen's meeting is to make you aware of the support and resources that we can provide if the town is favorably inclined to move forward. Given the unfortunate passing of Dave Mountain and the current board vacancies, as well as the prospect of a significant new grant opportunities that are expected to become available in April 2015, we would like to defer our presentation until next spring in the year of 2015. At that time, we will be better positioned to detail the terms of the grant applications better aligned. So, great. And they've decided that would be the time to do it. We have, and we'll get you folks out of here tonight, we have one-day liquor licenses for the Byfield Community Arts Center. The first one, and if I do anything wrong, guys, pick me up and we'll try to do these all at once, is January 14th to 2015 from 3 o'clock to 8 p.m. Beer and wine, one-day liquor license, Byfield Community Arts Center, Cat in the Cradle. January 17th, 2015, from 7 to 10:30, beer and wine, one-day liquor license, Byfield. 10:30, one-day liquor license, Byfield Community Arts Center. January 24th, 2015, 7:30 to 10:30 p.m., beer and wine. I've got to stop using so much of my Pick Magic marker, I can't read through it.
Mr. Chairman, motion to,
Okay, go ahead, Chuck.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve all.
Any discussion?
Yeah, since we have Steve and Heidi here, who's going to be serving the alcohol and checking IDs at those events?
Linda Allen, who is tip certified, will be serving at those events.
Fantastic.
She knows everybody.
Seeing
I
a mile
didn't-
away, right?
See any objection, but it just wasn't on the form, so wanted to.
And Ellen, everything else seems,
They completed their paperwork, but it was a lot to include in the packet, so kind of like over.
I mean, Ellen, you've started to do
And I
that
did
anyway, right?
checklists, Yeah.
On some of these things that are so long, you've included the most pertinent information, because, Damon, some of our packets would be like this thick, so if you have concerns before the meeting on some of that, you can sneak in and take a look too. But
Okay.
it's getting to be that Ellen's gonna really check everything she can, and like I said, if you wanna go in early and look at it, you can. So, those 3 dates, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let's do the same thing on the On the
Spencer
business
Pierce?
renewals,
Oh, no.
One day for the,
oh, one-day liquor license.
Spencer Pierce.
Yeah, and this is, and I had it written here too, right, in, in relationship to the bonfire, a very important one. One-day liquor license, historic New England, Spencer Pierce Little Farm, Old Newbury, day in conjunction with Old Newbury bonfire, and that's gonna be, and I didn't realize it was this date, so it's good, January 10th, 2015, from 4 o'clock to 9 PM. Is there a motion?
motion to approve.
Second?
Any discussion?
None.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's a good event.
Yes, it's one of the best that we do, so it's great. Okay, business license renewals. Why don't I just read the names right down through, or other pertinent information, and if you have a hold, we'll put a hold on it, otherwise we'll approve them all as read. Stephen Andreletta, how is that pronounced, Ellen?
Andrea Tola.
Andriotola, doing business as Steve Services in Byfield. Steve Bandoyan, trustee, Auto Marine Offshore. Anthony Barbaris, A&M Motors, Newburyport Turnpike. Michael Morris, Sniller BMW Performance, 25 Middle Road. Donald Mueller, Jr., as Romp and Roll out on the Turnpike. Colombo, Parker River Pub and Grill. William and Louise Robitaille as Pheasant Meadow Farm. Thomas Tremblay, Danvers Butchery, doing business as the Newbury Butchery. Jody Wilkinson, Wilco Marine Restorations. Bill Kosky, doing business as Bill's Auto Repair. Sean McCarthy, Edelrude Conference and Retreat Center. Vivian and how is that? Anastasia. Anastasia's Flowers on Main Street. Wayne, boy, I do slaughter names. Altavera, doing business as BGS Variety. Ann Palumbo Weber, Colonial Coiffures. Robert Doucette, doing business as Dick's Variety. Edward Lynch, doing business as Ditz and Lynch Capital. Stephen Bandoyan again, Old Newbury Boat Company. Mark Ferrari, Per Mile and Glill. Stephen Andreletta again as Steve Service Inc., repair and sales of related items. Matthew Kazaki, doing business Tendergrops Farms. Leslie's Matthews, Dragonfly Hill. Josette Walker, doing business as Josette's Ads and Loom. And that's it. Is there
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve all.
Second?
any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, except for a hold on Josette's.
Yep.
Moving right along. How much time do we have?
5 minutes. Why are you putting a hold on Josette's?
Just my vote.
Oh, your vote.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's just my vote. Good move, though. Okay, correspondence, we have a letter of invitation from George Pasenka, and I believe that's a Sunday. I would be greatly honored if you could attend the Eagle Scout Court of Honor for Joshua and Eric, and we are sending them a letter. And that's to be held at 4 PM, January 4th, and I think that's a Sunday. And this might be addressed to me, but it is, dear friend in scouting. I can't make it. If either one of you folks would like to go and maybe attend and recognize the achievement and make a presentation, you can inform George of that.
What's the date again?
It is January 4th, 2015.
Yeah, I'll be working in Arizona.
All right, why don't we hold that and think about it, and
Okay.
you can get a hold of George.
I like one of those.
Yeah, and I mean, I was so involved in scouting, I would. This is kind of a letter that I haven't seen before, but I imagine they're in our communications before, and I probably never really took notice of it. It is DBA, Dick's Variety, and it is Plum Island Boulevard, and it is Newbury, Mass. And I don't know if you guys had a chance to read it. Did you look at it at all? It's supposedly for selling alcoholic beverages, I guess, on Memorial Day, May 26, in 2014, and the investigators identified themselves to the clerk, and they asked for the owner. And I guess Sundays and holidays and you cannot do that. And Mr. Doucette stated that he only sold the alcoholic beverages after a customer pointed out the newspaper article to him, and the newspaper article was in the Boston Globe on Monday, 26, 2014. The newspaper article said liquor stores can stay open on those dates at the owner's discretion. So they were informed it was a violation, and I guess we have to read these things, but because of their good record and their long-standing, they were just issued a warning.
It's in the paper, it's gotta be true.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, anyway, that being said, as I say a lot, I guess, we have a letter from Merrimack Valley Planning Commission, and it is the notice of public hearings, and it's probably, has, as I read it, is the availability for review and comment, and it's the review and comment is the information. So, it is notice that is hereby given the availability of the following documents, materials for public review and comment. And it is a draft, which anyone that is interested, or anyone on television that is interested, they can contact Ellen, and I'm sure it's on the Merrimack Valley Planning website. It is draft MVMPO 2014 Coordinated Human Services Transportation Public Transportation Plan. It's a draft active transportation plan for Merrimack Valley. And as I read through it, it seems they want to coordinate the human services transportation, which is improve the quality of transportation for elderly, disabled persons, welfare recipients, low-income persons by assessing their transportation needs, minimizing the duplication of services, and achieving cost efficiencies. The draft active transportation plan will also include improvements to bicycle and pedestrian system throughout Merrimack Valley region. Copies of the above referenced documents are available for review at Merrimack Valley Planning Commission office, at local libraries for 30-day review beginning December 6th, ending January 5th. These documents are also available on the MVP website. You can submit comments, as I'm sure it is stated above, at the locations where you can pick the information up, to Merrimack Valley Planning Commission itself. There'll be public hearings. These public hearings on these documents will be held, one in the early afternoon, one in the evening, and the public hearings will be on December 7th, 2014, 1 p.m. and 6 p.m., and the locations will be 160 Main Street, Haverhill, Massachusetts, and that's the MVPC offices.
And that was
So,
December 17th, not 7th.
17th. All right, are we close enough? I don't have it today, guys.
Well, you could do the
One more minute. You want to sing a Christmas carol or anything, Chuck?
You could do the minutes.
Yeah, we could
We
approve
can
the
do the
minutes.
Were we all here on the minutes?
Yep.
I was.
All right.
Motion to approve as written.
Go ahead,
Motion to approve. Second.
second. Any discussion?
None.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Damon, you want to read the notice
Public
of a
hearing?
public hearing? It's kind of
Starting
buried,
at
it's
the
buried
first
in there.
one.
I have to make a motion to open the public
Yep.
hearing?
Yep. All right, you ready? You got it?
Sure.
All right, motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
A public hearing will be held on Tuesday, December 23rd, 2014 at 7:15 at the Newbury Town Hall, 25 High Road, Newbury, Mass. on the petition of National Grid Plan number 17935848. Old Rowley Road National Grid proposes to replace Bay Ring poles previously petitioned for and installed with National Grid solely owned poles number 21 and 22 in order to provide electric services to 76 Old Rowley Road. Thank you.
It's
Little
in the air.
dyslexia there.
It's in the air. It's in the air tonight. All right.
Okay. Actually, what you read was, I guess, quite accurate, but
Doesn't surprise us, John.
when I originally submitted the petition, our petition, was my feeling that the poles were already there with permission of the town. And after some investigation, we found out they weren't. When the poles were installed, the installer thought he was in Rowley.
Ah.
So Bayring went and received
So-
Raleigh's permission, right?
Well, whether they receive permission from Raleigh or not, I guess it isn't required, because since it's municipal, they don't go through hearings to set the poles.
And these are fiber optic poles or electrical poles?
Poles are the same as what we use, just a
Okay.
different size,
Okay.
but there's no electricity on them now. There's a fiber optic cable.
Yep.
Comes from someplace, I think, in Maine and goes to Boston.
Yep, I can remember it.
And they did petition for a pole in town, but not those. There
Yep.
was one out back here on one of the side streets.
Yep.
So I guess the reason it couldn't be found in the records here for me is because it didn't exist. So the company's, National Grid has since sent a letter, I don't know who received it here, pending the approval for the 2 new poles and anchor locations on Old Raleigh Road to serve house number 67. National Grid will license Bayring Communications and approve the transfer of the existing fiber optic cables to the position on the National Grid poles, if the petition's granted.
And you're reading from the proposal,
National Grid
right,
Communications
sent
was
December 16th to us?
correct.
Yep. That's in the packet, guys, and have you got anything to add to that, or is that all you have?
That's all I have. I
Okay.
actually thought there'd be a Bayring representative here tonight. Evidently there isn't. Speak on their own behalf, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, last time you'd said you guys were gonna enter into negotiations with them. What has happened, and what would this transfer look like? You guys would go and install poles?
Could replace their poles with our own, because the height wouldn't meet clearances for us to have electric and communication on the pole.
Okay.
So we'd replace the poles in kind, taller poles, and put electric on it to serve the house. We'd have, their communication would have to be transferred to the new poles and the old ones removed.
And who would be doing the removal?
We'd be doing the removal. I've talked to construction ahead of time, and if we weren't allowed to transfer their cables, we'd leave the portion, the middle of the pole, attached to the new pole.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah.
And I said, boy, if we get away with this, they're not gonna want double poles down there. So construction said if they couldn't transfer, they'd leave the middle of the pole attached to the new pole, the portion that has the communication on it. There's company liability as well as union issues with transferring their equipment. So they're really responsible to transfer their own. It's possible it gets transferred, but they're responsible to transfer their own.
Did you get anything, Ellen, from Bayring? Because I'm reading some of the emails here, and
The last email that I received from Bayring, I understood that National Grid, Amy Sullivan
Correct.
of
Right.
National Grid was working with Bayring. And Steve Bond, who has been in touch with our office, said in his latest email, and that was dated December 11th, he said, "It seems to me the most expedient process to get electric power to the new resident on Old Raleigh Road is to have the N-Grid process, which is to come before the board with their petition, continue, and once completed, Bayring will attach to the poles that N-Grid places. The poles placed by Bayring will be removed."
Ellen,
And,
Ellen, that was from Bayring, right?
That was
Steve's
from
from Bayring.
right,
Now, the owner of the house is here, right? And, all these impasses and holdups are certainly starting to affect you, right? And that's one of the reasons, I will be honest with you, this was a very quick meeting, and we probably could have saved everyone, we're here tonight to make sure we certainly clear this up. So, for me, as part of this board, that and in no way in a binding fashion, because we haven't entered into a motion, but hypothetically, if we said to National Grid, we approve your proposal to set new poles, where they never asked us to put the poles in Newbury anyway, I'm not sure that there's legal liability for the town. I think it might fall upon you. You could have legal responsibility. But, to my board, let's make a motion, let's discuss this.
All right, motion to approve the petition.
Approve the proposal.
Second the motion.
All right, any discussion? So let me finish my discussion and then.
Yep.
My discussion would almost say that as a new person trying to build a home or come into Newbury or finish a house in Newbury, and it seems that National Grid is trying the best to resolve somewhat of a complicated matter, I think we've got to look at what we would perceive as the best way to get it done tonight. So, that being said, what are your concerns and what are your thoughts?
Concerned about Bay Ring turning around and being obstreperous about it and trying to say, well, these are our poles and you can't tell us what to do and that sort of thing, because they don't have a representative here.
Now, let me ask you a question. We're allowing, the proposal is we're allowing National Grid to set 2 new poles.
Yeah.
What they do with those poles, I really don't give a good gosh darn. So where we,
Bayring has been very good in the past. with
Have they?
this. They have always been here. They have put up a bunch of other poles, put on a good presentation. My question to you is, do you think Bayring thought those poles were in Rowley?
They claim they thought they were in Raleigh,
Okay.
'cause they wouldn't have had a
So where
petition
there is
for it.
no process in Rowley, and they thought they were in Rowley, that's why they never came to us. To me, that answers the question.
but let me ask you a question, meaning the guy needs electricity.
Yep. So,
National Grid doesn't want to put power on those poles.
right.
Or can't.
Or whatever. So the guy could end up without power for a long while, or have poles in places that weren't advantageous for our use of the roads.
Yep.
So that being said, what was your next thought? What were we gonna say beyond that?
National Grid puts the poles in, they transfer the fiber optic to the National Grid poles,
Or
remove the
do what they
Bayring
can
poles.
legally? So,
Yeah.
so we push through this in the respect that we have a motion on the table, and the motion is to approve that petition as read.
To put in the 2 new poles, and what
Right.
happens thereafter, we can figure out.
Well, let's, pending the approval for 2 new poles and anchor locations on Raleigh Road to service house number 67 Old Raleigh Road, National Grid will license Bayring Communications and approve the transfer of their existing fiber optic cable to a position on the National Grid poles. National Grid will cooperate with Bayring Communications' effort to remove the poles that were placed without proper permitting. If you have any additional questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me. I would say that if we were to approve the proposal, we are also approving, because of the proposal having those conditions, that we're also, will license Bayring Communications the transfer of the existing fiber optics, so we are just basically approving the proposal. Then it's up to you guys.
Correct.
I mean, so, if I look at this, the way I look at this, especially when a homeowner or a homeowner-to-be needs electricity, that, I mean, you guys don't seem to be in the clear yet, where you have to cut a pole and maybe attach it to yours. But if we approve this proposal, I think it's out of our hands.
Yeah, and it gets,
so.
The fellow at the end of the room, power sooner, so.
Yeah, so anyway, that's how I read it. I don't know about you. John, have you- any clarification?
Petition's been advertised,
Huh?
but it has been advertised. Correct.
The first petition that you submitted was what was advertised,
Okay.
and there wasn't another petition submitted.
Well, the petition hasn't changed as
Rewording.
far as location of
Right.
poles and all of that. As
Well,
long
we're
as-
gonna blame you if you screw this up.
As long as it's advertised.
Now, what does that mean? The position of the poles or the fact that you're gonna put Bay Rings Communications on your poles?
I'm
I
sorry.
mean, our proposal, I mean, that was a good question you asked Ellen. And I'm not so sure we've advertised, unless Ellen's gonna correct me,
No, it's been advertised.
the fact that we're gonna put Bay Rings Communications on their poles.
Question that we're petitioning for poles.
Right.
That was my question.
The petition stated that National Grid proposes to replace Bay-Ring poles previously petitioned for and installed with N-Grid solely owned poles, number 21 and 22, in order to provide electric service to 67 Old Raleigh Road. That was how the petition, that's how it came into us, and that's what it read.
Now,
And
that,
that's how it was advertised.
now, is that petition, John, in all your wisdom, concurrent with the proposal that we're gonna okay?
Well, other than the language of the fact that we thought the other poles had been previously petitioned for and they weren't. In other words, there's no permission, there's no permission to have the existing poles there in the first place.
Yeah.
So we could have been charging them rent?
I don't know what your other option would be. In other words, they pay us. They
Have
pay-
you contacted Bay Ring and had cooperation with Bay Ring? Because we were under the illusion that you also had some form of cooperation. In some respects, you changed that a little bit when you said we might have to cut their poles and tack them to ours, but, I mean, how's it gonna go?
Well, they're on all our other poles in town where our poles were already existing. To get from Newburyport or initially to get from Maine, I think it started at. So, I don't see any problem with that. The third-party attachment folks, that's Amy Sullivan out of the main office. We don't get involved with third-party attachment projects at this level. It's all handled by a separate group. It's a pretty large project. Actually, we upgraded most of the poles on High Road to make room for them. So I wouldn't think 2 more poles would be a problem,
So in other words,
since they're already on all the other poles we have in town, where we were already existing.
and I'm learning. Tonight it's a little hard for me to learn, I think. But, so the original petition, which is a little different than this petition, but the original petition is different than what Amy actually, what was in front of us, which Amy renders as a proposal. So should we be looking at okaying your petition, or should we be okaying the proposal? Or should we not make this complicated and just okay the proposal, and it's up to you?
You mean her proposal?
Yeah,
We don't advertise the proposal.
no,
Advertise
so you're telling us to make a motion to approve the petition?
I think that's what we did make a motion to.
Yeah, because
That's procedure. The
okay, good,
her
because
proposal is,
that's what the public hearing's about.
I was told they wanted to see a proposal,
Why is this even here?
because it was requested.
It was requested. It said that, in your,
We wanted more information.
that,
You didn't want to give us permission to put poles there when you had already given it to Bay Ring. At the time, we didn't realize, at the board meeting, when I presented the petition for consideration, because I didn't know how to get out of this myself.
Actually, the last proposal, we were gonna put poles on the other side of the road, weren't we?
The original one,
Yes.
But-
So,
um,
right,
some conversation with other town folks, it didn't seem to be 2 sets of poles for 2 pieces of
Right.
wire, didn't seem. One
Well,
on each
the-
side of the
and
road.
that's what we sent it back to do,
Well,
was to
the-
clean up this whole,
Well, the information, though, that we asked for,
Right.
Chuck, was, and I'm not so sure it's any clearer tonight, the information that we asked was to have an agreement established between Bay Ring and themselves, so that everything went smoothly. And that's why,
That's why the letter was provided,
I mean,
That,
opposed to the agreement between the two companies.
which letter? I don't have anything from Bay Ring, do I?
No.
I mean, I'm not gonna make,
National
just
Grid.
an email.
yeah, so I mean, we don't have anything from Bay Ring, so I mean,
What does the email
It's
state?
the email too.
right, so it's up to you guys what you wanna do, and, I don't know if
Can I
we should
just
make
read
it
this?
complicated or not.
So the email from Bayring says, "It seems to me the most expedient process to get electrical power to the new resident on Old Raleigh Road is to have the National Grid process outlined below continue, and once completed, Bayring will attach the poles that National Grid places. The poles, by replacing Bayring, will be removed." So it
that's what we-
seems like
Comfortable with that.
there's some sense of agreement from Bayring, and so I would like to move forward and approve this.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Motion to close the public hearing and open again, or can we leave this public hearing open, Alan? Because they're all at the same
Yeah,
time.
I think,
Leave it open?
Yeah.
All right, good. So we have another,
So read the next one.
yeah.
A public hearing will be held on Tuesday, December 23rd, 2014, at 7:15 at the Newbury Town Hall, 25 High Road, Newbury, Mass. On the petition of National Grid Plan 1698-7793, Green Street, to install 45-foot of concrete encased 1 to 3 inch conduit and 1/0 secondary to HH1 for US or UG service to house 4 plus or minus 30 feet of this conduit under the street.
John, you want to make that clear to us? However, good. How are you? Yeah.
Steve's, National Grid.
How are you?
Hi. This is a request from an existing customer to upgrade their service from overhead to underground. The customer is across the street from our existing pole line. So we are proposing to run, for the customer to install conduit by their contractor under the public way to a handhole on private property. And then, once their contractor is finished with the installation, National Grid will own it and maintain it.
Now, are we cutting Green Street to get it under? So, gotta cut the asphalt, right?
This will
Which,
be done by the customer's contractor.
Should we make a motion so we can discuss it?
sure.
Motion to approve the proposed conduit under the street.
second the motion.
All right, so any thoughts on the petition for National Grid?
My only question would be, Highway Department, have they been notified and all of this? Because they're basically in charge of that, so that's my only question.
All the construction work will be done by the customer's contractor, so they'll be applying for the road opening permit, and we'll be
Okay.
doing all the necessary requirements for that.
Good.
That answers my question, thank you.
Any other discussion?
The Newbury resident wants to do it, and Timmy doesn't have a problem with it at the highway department. I don't see why we should get in the way.
And, all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Moving right along to the same public hearing. Raymond?
A public hearing will be held on Tuesday, December 23rd, 2014 at 7:15 at the Newbury Town Hall, 25 High Road, Newbury, Mass. On the petition of National Grid and Verizon New England, Plan 1805-5724 Middle Road, National Grid to install a pole across from pole 88 Middle Road. The new pole will be located on town property on the southeast side of Middle Road and will be labeled 88-4. 84. So that is 88-84.
This is a request by National Grid to improve our infrastructure. We currently have a tree guy at that location, and we would like to remove it and put in a stub pole with an anchor. The anchor will actually be on private property, but the pole will be in the public way.
88, where is that? Any clue?
It's near House 188 Little Road.
You got the map right there? Can I see it, please?
It's in our map system. Because we have a side street on it. I have another map.
Okay.
I can check for it.
No.
See, this is probably what you received. Let's see. Yep, this is, shows maybe some more.
Where is that?
Oh, 181
88.
is the customer.
That's what he's looking for.
So it'll be on their side.
Okay, I know where it is.
So where is it, Chuck?
Thank you. Yeah.
Where is it, Chuck?
All right. Well, I think it is down by where Middle comes into it. I mean, into,
Orchard?
by Orchard
Orchard
there,
Street?
Orchard and Maple and all of those are in that neck of the woods there. There's a couple of new houses up in there. Yep. It's kinda hard telling on that map.
Yeah, some of it's a little
Yeah.
hard to read.
Any discussion that?
We do
yeah,
the motion first, then the
We
discussion.
did make the motion? All right, motion to, go ahead, guys.
Motion to grant the petition as submitted.
Second the motion.
Any discussion?
None.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Merry Christmas. Oh, enjoy the rest of your vacation.
I gotta take a ride down O'Reilly Road and see what happened. All right,
I think we got it all.
Warrants,
warrants, we got a lot of warrants.
you have some warrants.
All right, is there any meeting updates?
What have we done?
Damon, bend anything? Chuck?
Yeah.
Thanks,
Can't
guys.
think of anything.
Nothing
Been
too
out of
exciting in the last 2 weeks.
Good luck, sir.
Good luck.
Yeah. I hope you have power soon.
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
holidays, Merry Christmas. Executive session, no?
No,
Did we really get everything?
Yep. Anything, Ellen?
Make a motion to
Oh, we gotta,
sign the warrants?
Yes,
do we have to close the public hearing, actually?
yes,
yes.
we should.
Motion to close the public hearings?
Second the motion.
Any discussion?
None.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And we have warrants in front of us, and can I have a motion to sign those warrants?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
None.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And no executive session tonight, and motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All those, any discussion? All those in favor?
Oh, yeah, I want to stay here and talk.